Welcome to International Schooling, where we believe that every child is unique and deserves an education designed around their educational needs. Hello, everyone. My name is Danelle, and I am your teacher today at International Schooling. Whether you are joining from home, busy traveling, or at practice, I am so happy to have you join me on this learning journey. Fantastic. So let's begin today's exciting lesson. This is Grade 8, American Curriculum, Economics, Module 1, Lesson 6, Money. Now, we are going to talk about what is the difference between money and currency. You might think, but they are the exact same thing. How are they different? They are slightly different. Currency is a type of money. So let us look at a few examples of money. First and foremost, we have debit cards, and then we have bonds, and lastly, we have coffee beans. You might think, how is coffee beans money? That makes no sense, but I will explain to you in due time how it does form part of money. So if you think about it, if you have a $10 bill and your classmate has a $10 gift card, both represent a form of money. Just happens that they both have the same value, but both represents a form of money where you can buy something. So in this lesson, we will look at the difference between money and currency and why currency is so important. With the popularity of debit cards, credit cards, and the world becoming a very cashless society, we have moved into that classifies more as money than cash does. But credit cards are not money. We are going to have the chance to investigate these ideas and why they matter. Now, the objectives of today's lesson is to explain the functions and identify characteristics of the money supply, distinguish between money and currency, analyze the significance of currency in today's economy, and also evaluate the role of currency in solving economic problems. Now, this is just an introduction lesson into regards to this topic as a whole, but it is very, very important. So first and foremost, what are the four functions of money? Firstly, it's a medium of exchange. Money is accepted in exchange for another item. If you purchase gum at a store, you hand over your $1 bill, and that is seen as your medium of exchange. Now, it also measures value. It is measures the worth of an item. So let's say, for example, this pen. I say this pen is worth $1. You say it is worth $2. Doesn't matter that we disagree on its value. We are measuring it in value based off of a currency amount, $1 or $2. Now, we are both describing it in terms of money. We also use it as a standard. So this has the consistent numerical measurement. So $1 at the bottom of your couch that looks a little bit worse for wear, that's crumbled up, is worth the same amount as $1 that you have in your wallet that still looks pristine and crisp. And both equal to 10 dimes in your couch. So each of them is a way of describing the measurement. We also look at money as its store of value. Now, money holds value. It's very important. It has a purpose in that sense. If we have $1 bill at the bottom of our couch and it's been there for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, it is still worth the same $1 that you got yesterday. Doesn't really matter. It's still $1. It still stores the same amount of value. Fantastic. So there's a little rhyme that we can learn to remember this, and it is money is a matter of functions of four. A medium, a measure, a standard, a store. Besides currency, debit cards, government bonds are all examples of money. Some people think credit cards. How's that different from a debit card? However, credit card represents debt, money that you owe, but it's not money itself. So if we go and buy a pen at the store, for example, and I pay with my debit card, I lose money. Money immediately gets deducted from my account. But if I go buy this pen with my credit card, I am essentially taking out a loan. That's what it is. And I have to pay that back at a later date with interest. So only when I pay off my credit card, then there's a transaction of money happening. But I use my debit card to pay off my credit card. So my credit card never actually represents money. Now we have some characteristics of money. So I told you that how is coffee money? And I'm sure you all thought that's a bit of a strange statement to make. But let's say, for example, I have coffee, you have sugar, I need sugar, you need coffee. So I give you coffee in exchange for sugar. We are making an exchange, and that's called barter. Now, this was very much used in early civilizations in the trade of salts and grains and shells and even cows for other goods and services. And it was a very vital part of civilization in that time. But coins and paper bills started to emerge as a better alternative for trading over long distances. And there's some characteristics of today's currency as a valuable form of money. The first characteristic is it is durable. Now, please, please, please do not go tear up your $1 bill. I do not think that is a wise decision, and it is not that durable. But it lasts long. It stands the test of time. If you put it under your couch and you look for it 5 years later, it is still going to be there. It did not combust. Then also it is portable. Imagine carrying 6 bags of sugar around and going to the store and saying, okay, here's my sugar. I want groceries. That's not very portable. That's slightly difficult to do. So by putting a few dollars into your wallet and then going to the store to buy your groceries makes it a lot easier. Our next characteristics is it is scarce. Oh, how we all wish money would grow on trees, if only. But unfortunately, none of us have figured out how to grow money on trees, and it is scarce. There is a limited amount of money in circulation in every economy. And that means that we can't have as much as we possibly want. It is not an unlimited source. Next is it is accepted. If I go to the store to buy my groceries and I give money, it is an accepted method of payment. If that store owner puts it into his bank account and he pays his bills with it, it is also accepted. And therefore, it is an accepted way of exchanging goods. However, if I give you sugar and you give me coffee, and I go to the next person and I want to use my coffee exchange again, that's not going to work. I can't pay my rent or anything like that with coffee. So it's not always accepted. Next is it is stable in value. As I said, $1 20 years ago compared to the $1 now, it's still $1. It hasn't changed. $10 hasn't become $1. And then next, divisible. I can take my $10 and I can get 10 $1. I can take my $1 and I can get 10 dimes. So it is divisible in certain transactions. Fantastic. Now that is our characteristics of money or currency. Now, what is the value of currency? Why would a country not just simply print more money? What is the value of currency and what makes it guaranteed? So first and foremost, as we said, it is an accepted method of money. So it is illegal to copy said currency. Currency is accepted because it's approved by the government. It is accepted by the government. The government has printed those bills, and that is why it is accepted. But if I print my illegal currency and I go to my friend and I say, here's my $1 in exchange for some gum, and they want to go to the store and buy something else, the government is going to say, nope, you can't use that illegal money. So you have to use money or currency that is accepted by the government, created by the government. You cannot create your own bills. Government guarantee. So at one time, the United States currency was backed by gold, which meant that all the money in circulation could be redeemed for a set amount of gold. Now, during and after World War I, gold production fell greatly, and this was no longer possible. There was not enough gold to back the demand for more currency. And currency became very scarce and prices rose very sharply, which is as a result of inflation. So to slow this trend, the US government abandoned the gold standard and they had fiat currency, like US currency. So it is money that the government declares legal for use in a payment. And people have confidence in this type of currency because it will hold value, because it is issued by the government. Now, counterfeit money, however, the government will not accept a dollar that was not created by the US Treasury. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which is part of the Treasury, is responsible for printing legal currency. So when people try to make copies of said money, it is called counterfeiting. If you saw a $1 bill that was lying on the ground and you look at it, you see it, and it doesn't quite look right, and you find out it is counterfeit, you are out of luck. It will not be accepted anywhere, and you will get in a lot of trouble if you try to use it. Now, the Treasury is intent on protecting consumers and businesses from said counterfeit currency. And they make sure that everybody is aware what a legitimate bill is, to make counterfeiting more difficult for people. They put security features in place. And that would be color shifting ink. So the paper bills in this ink will change color under a different light. There's some watermarks that's barely visible under a bright light, as well as security thread, which is actual thread woven into the paper bill. And it can be seen under a bright light, and also raised printing. So the text and images can be felt on the paper. You can feel the texture of it. Yes, new technology has made it very difficult to print and use counterfeit money due to these security features, but there are still tens of millions of dollars worth of counterfeit currency in circulation today. So if you do discover any counterfeit money, please report it immediately, because it is a federal offense to create or to knowingly use a counterfeit bill. So don't get yourself in trouble unnecessarily. Don't try and give the counterfeit money to someone else. Just report it. A legal money tree. So as we said, money does not grow on trees, as much as we wish it did. So if there is an economic crisis, let's use COVID for example. It was somewhat of an economic crisis and it caused a lot of problems. So why did the government not just simply print more currency? That would sound lovely in theory. Yet we have to remember supply and demand. Money, even currency, are subject to the same rules of supply and demand. So if there's too much supply, the purchasing power of the dollar will decrease. I'm not saying a dollar is not going to longer be a dollar. It still is. But if I buy this pen, let's say 4 months ago, if I bought it 4 months ago, it was $1. Now the government printed more money, there's more money in circulation, fantastic. Now I go to the same store to buy the same pen and I expect to pay $1 for it. It's no longer $1. It is now $2 or $3 worth because the purchasing power of my dollar has decreased. So now I can no longer buy the same quantity of goods or services for the same amount of price. It will become more expensive or less expensive. Now, we need to make sure that we have a set kind of inflation in regards to that. Yes, inflation is good, but we don't want the purchasing power of our dollar to decrease by such an amount that we are actually worse off than before. Now, this happened in Germany even before the Great Depression hit worldwide, and as a result, their purchasing power of their currency was more valuable to put in the fire than it was as money. And that is why the government can't just simply print more money. And this is a very complex topic. While currency is the dominant form of money, we may notice that we use currency less and less. We refer more to our debit cards or credit cards to pay for goods and services because we are moving somewhat into a cashless society. And evidence does support this by the growing popularity of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So like credit cards, cryptocurrency has some characteristics of money, and they may have all of them in certain markets. Let's do a review of what we have learned. Now we are going to essentially match each one. First and foremost, store. Store. What can money do? Money can... I'm trying to look for the answer. Money has a... describe the worth. Can anybody see the answer? There we go. I found it. Money holds its value. Then a medium. What do you think medium is? A medium of exchange. Money is accepted in exchange for goods. Standard. Money has a consistent numerical measurement. Measure. Money can describe the worth of an item. Now, counterfeit. Fake and illegal reproduction. Fiat currency. This is declared to be legal by the government. Money. Anything that can be exchanged for goods and services. The value of currency is subject to the rules of supply and demand. Barter is to trade goods and services. Illegal is against the law, and legitimate is legal, not fake. Fantastic. Well done, everyone. So the characteristics of money and also the 4 functions of money. I hope that you all enjoyed today's lesson. We also looked at what happens when illegal money is made. Now, next time you see me, we will be discussing taxes and how taxes affect you. You don't want to miss it. It will help you understand how today's lesson connects with the real world and how everything works in regards to that. Now, thank you for learning with International Schooling, where we believe that every child is unique and deserves the flexibility and education adapted to the student. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. And remember, your school, your location, your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Bye.
International Schooling, the best online school.